Okay, everybody, welcome to the Lemonade Stand podcast. I am here with Remy Smith.
Hello.
Hey, nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you.
She is an amazing young woman entrepreneur. She's only 14 years old. She is the host of Cook Time with Remy. She is the host of The Culinary Kid. She sells her own line of salad dressings in Whole Foods and other specialty markets. She's author of a cookbook called Global Cooking for Kids. She is a student ambassador for Sodexo. Did I say that right, Remy?
Mm-hmm.
She's a mentor for Thrive 15. She is also a mentor for independent youth, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And let's not leave out the fact that you have partnered with No Kid Hungry, which is a nonprofit that helps get meals to kids that don't have enough food, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's a lot. That's quite an impressive resume for a 14-year-old girl. So the first question I wanted to pose to you, Remy, is just kind of a background question. You know, you started cooking for fun. Give me an idea when cooking sort of turned into like, hey, this is a business opportunity.
Well, I started in the kitchen when I was 4 years old, and I was just helping my mom with making salads and washing fruits and vegetables. And then by the time I was 7 years old, I could make full meals by myself. And so ever since then, I've always really loved food. I've always loved cooking. And so at that time, my brother actually suggested that we start a web show because there's not really many kids out there that can cook. And also at that time, childhood obesity epidemic was really on the spotlight. So we thought, why not connect the two? So Cook Time with Remy is basically a way to link the skill of cooking to improve nutrition. And also it's a creative way to address the childhood obesity epidemic in America. And so probably 2008 or 2009 was really when it went from just like a little hobby web show to a businessy TV show.
What? So you're let's see, 9 years old?
Yeah.
That's so young. Okay. Keep going.
And whenever we first put the first web show up, a local cable channel actually picked up the show. So that's where it went from a web show to a TV show.
When you say web show, is that like on YouTube? What kind of a web show? You created your own website. So at 9 years old, you had your own website and you were producing your own cooking show.
Yes.
Okay,
it was very interesting.
Yeah, that's cool though. That's very cool. Okay, so where did we go from once the local you said a cable channel picked you up? Mm-hmm. So what happened then?
So the local cable channel picked up the show, aired it 20 times a week, and at that time I got sort of more attention around my town, and that's when Sodexo actually asked for me to like judge one of their cooking competitions for their Future Chefs competition, which promotes kids cooking. So of course, I said yes. And I judged more of those, and I invited one of their chefs on my show. And apparently I'm a pretty good judge because they asked me to be their student ambassador for health and nutrition for North America. And that's really where I jump-started to a more national position, and that really has helped me to be where I am now. Working on a national contract for a national TV show, and of course I'm constantly making recipes and just cooking, and that's really what I'm all about. I'm all about cooking. I love food. And of course, stopping the childhood obesity epidemic. And along the way, I worked with No Kid Hungry, which is also stopping childhood hunger.
That is so incredible. When you started cooking, helping your mom in the kitchen, did you ever imagine that it would take over your life and just become who you are?
Honestly, no. Like, I remember the day my mom asked me, she's like, do you want to do Cook Time with me? And I was like 8 years old at the time. And we were like sitting on the back porch. And I'm just like, yeah, because I just thought it'd be like, a cute little web show that would just I make food and I get to eat it after, which is the real reward there. And then
bonus, yeah. You mentioned your mom. How influential has family been on your success as you obviously started with your mom in the kitchen. She probably showed you the ropes, taught you what salt and pepper were, and now here you are, you're your own chef, with your own shows. How has your family influenced that?
My family's been very influential. Basically, of course, my mom, she's the one who's taught me how to cook and got me started in the kitchen and got my passion for cooking started. And so without her, honestly, I wouldn't have Cook Time with Remy, wouldn't have a business, and of course, I love cooking as much as I do. And also, she has helped me to learn the ropes as an entrepreneur, not only as cooking. And so she has been guiding me along the way. And also, my dad, he's an entrepreneur, and so he's also been a great support for me. And so my whole family has been really behind me. Like whenever I first did Cook Time with Me when it was a web show, I invited my sisters and their friends on the show, and we had a Cook Time team, and then my sisters got to throw pie in my face. So it's been really fun.
Well, that was fun for them.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like to throw pie in the face? And I understand you come from a big family, right?
I have 6 other siblings. I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers. And out of the whole 7 of us, 4 of us are adopted. And that's the last 4, which is my younger sister, my 2 older sisters, and I.
Oh, interesting. So what a family dynamic.
Our family is it's pretty diverse. A lot of my other siblings are very sportsy, and I'm the one who's in the kitchen. So it's really interesting.
Well, that makes for, you can't say that your home life is boring then.
That's true.
It's not boring when you have a big family ever. So I think that's fantastic. I want to know more about Remy's life. Like when you wake up in the morning, are you a normal kid or do you have a special schedule, or is there, right now you're doing an interview for a podcast. I mean, tell us a little bit about Remy's day.
Well, since I'm working with Sodexo, I do a lot of appearances and I travel a lot. And usually those appearances are more on like weekends or sometimes on the weekdays. And so usually the weekends are the busiest time for me because I travel a lot and that's when I schedule most of my demos. So we try to go around my school life because I go to a school. I'm not homeschooled. And so that's really what we do. Our weekends mainly consist of. And also recently I've been working with a company called Food to Be Fit, which is a company that delivers fresh food that's healthy for you to people around the town. And so I go on like the weekends and I make food and I deliver my salads. And also I do a weekly segment for a local cable channel. And so I do that during the weekday, during my school day. And before I started my school year, actually, we talked to the principal and talked about my schedule to make sure they were okay with it, because that's a major factor, especially when considering my schooling for high school, because I just started, I'm a freshman. And we got that all figured out. And my schedule is sort of sporadic because I have a lot of different appearances. Some may pop up and some, may get dropped. And also with independent youth, I do a lot of speaking conferences about youth entrepreneurship.
Tell me a little bit about that. When you go out and do a speaking engagement, what do you focus on when you talk to the youth? Because that's who we're talking to right now. Like, what would you say to them in one of those presentations to motivate or push them to become an entrepreneur?
One of the presentations I mainly focus on is marketing techniques. So I say social media is basically your friend whenever trying to promote your business because it's free and it's the internet, so it can get anywhere. And also be willing to work for free, put at least 100% effort into all opportunities, because I say at least 110. Because this is the impression that you give people. You don't want to give 50% quality this one time just because you've had a rough day, but then give like a stellar performance to this other customer because you have one upset customer and then one who's really with you, but you both want them to be very happy customers. And then I also say, don't be afraid to fail. Especially just being an entrepreneur in general. You learn from your failures and your mistakes as an entrepreneur, and that's the best knowledge you can get just from being an entrepreneur, is learning from your mistakes and learning from the failures you've made.
That's a big one coming from a 14-year-old. Have you had time to make very many mistakes?
I started really young, so of course my mom, she helped me to guide me, and we've both made like mistakes because it was like a sort of a new kind of role for us as an entrepreneur and starting a cooking show. So of course we've made our mistakes and we've learned what to do and what not to do. And I know I don't know everything about starting a business, and because I'm still learning. Like an entrepreneur, you're always learning. You always learn. You always learn from your surroundings. You always learn from other people. You're just constantly learning. And so I know I have a lot more to learn, but I do believe I have learned a lot from my past and my mistakes.
Well, starting at 9,
Yeah.
you're ahead of a lot of people that are just starting their business now. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got more business experience at 14 than, yeah. And I didn't mean that as a slight in any way. I just simply, you're so young. Like that's amazing. That you already have that enough experience that you can do a presentation on, hey, don't be afraid to fail. Like get over it. Failure is good. And I tell people that all the time too, Remy. I tell people that all the time. Failure is one of an entrepreneur's best tools.
Yeah.
Because it launches you forward to the next thing as long as you don't let it overcome you.
Well, no, another thing I say is just never give up. I know people hear this all the time about giving up and you're never supposed to, but the thing is, whenever you give up, you just stop, you quit. And the thing about quitting is that you never know what's going to happen after you quit. Like you can either make this huge failure and learn from it, or you can be super successful. But either way, they're very good for you. So really, if you quit, you're not gaining anything.
Yeah, there's no negative that comes from trying. Right? It's all positive.
Yeah.
So when you go to school, are you just a normal girl, or do people look at you and go, "Oh, that's cook time with Remy"? Is there a feeling of a sense of what you're doing outside of school with your peers, or is it kind of hush hush and not really a big deal?
Well, since I was 9 years old, a lot of people I went to like grade school with, they knew about me, and they still I go to the same high school as them, and so some people know about me. Like it's mainly just people like that went to school with me, and then some other people that have found out about it. And so sometimes like it's cool, like they're all like, can I be on your show? And it's really fun having them like surround me, and they're really good support too. I think you should surround yourself with good people who support you, and I think that's some of the greatest things. That's the greatest tool you can have is great support as an entrepreneur.
Oh, and it sounds like you've got a lot of good support around you. Family, friends. Tell me about mentors. Do you have any mentors that help you? I mean, as you're really at a cusp here of expanding into areas that are just so big with the national, television show, and these things are going to be huge. Do you have people behind you to support you and make sure that you do things right?
Well, of course, I said my mom. She's really been my mentor because she's been in the business world and she knows some of the ins and outs. But also, as I said, we're also learning. And so recently I actually signed with an agent, and she's been in like the PR business and like all that kind of business for a long time. And so she's been helping us with all that stuff. And also with Thrive 15, Clay Clark is the founder of it, and he has also been my mentor because he has had a ton of experience as an entrepreneur because he started whenever he was younger too, like probably in his 20s. And so he's really been a great mentor for me in helping me go through the ropes of being a young entrepreneur and what things to do like in a meeting or like what things to say and all that kind of thing. And he just really helped me a lot.
Now tell me a little bit about Thrive 15. I was looking at their website earlier, and it seems like such an incredible resource for anybody that's thinking about being an entrepreneur, starting their own business, and firing their boss. What have you gotten from it, and what can people expect to get from Thrive 15?
Well, Thrive 15 is basically an online university for entrepreneurship, and so basically it's like 15-minute video sessions that are taught by entrepreneurs themselves. And what I talk about is finding your passion and turning it into a business, because I love food and I love cooking, and I turn it into my business, which is one of the greatest aspirations that a lot of people have, is working but also having fun and loving your job. And so Thrive 15 is really just an incredible resource that has a bunch of different tools as an entrepreneur, from marketing to finding your passion to finance, and all these different kind of aspects or questions that you have about being an entrepreneur. You can all find it in one place.
Yeah. It's like a school that anybody can enter.
Yeah, and even teen entrepreneurs like myself can do it. And the age range is limitless.
No, that's cool. I think I might be joining that just to test it out and see what it does. I have several businesses, but I'm always looking to learn and grow and become a better entrepreneur, a more effective entrepreneur. You're very impressive in the way that you've put yourself out there. You're not afraid of being behind the camera or in front of the camera, rather. The camera's facing you. I encourage people to check out your website. You've got tons of videos on there. We'll link to all of this on our show notes so that people can go directly to it and really check you out and get to know Remy. I encourage people to follow the advice you've given and to really try to follow the example that you have set as a young entrepreneur because, and you can answer this question, Remy, are you happy with being an entrepreneur? Is it something you enjoy doing?
Yes, it's definitely something I love to. I've loved that I've experienced it so young, and it's something I want to do when I'm older now because I have this experience of knowing it, and I just think it's something I want to aspire to learn more about. And I may not always do a cooking show, I may not always try to do that, but I will always know I want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Well, once that fire starts, you can't put it out. I'm sorry. You're hooked for life. So, well, Remy, thank you so much for your time. I know we broke you away from your busy schedule, and we really, really appreciate you being willing to come on the lemonade stand today.
Thank you.
You've been wonderful. Very easy to talk to, and that's always fun. So.
Yeah.
Okay, you have a good evening, and we'll be in touch, okay?
Okay.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.